Psalm 50, a psalm of Asaph. Now, Asaph is another one of those guys who was a temple musician in David's court. This is either he himself, or a school, or his descendants maybe, or a school that came about in his name afterwards, possibly. The mighty one, God the Lord, speaks and summons the earth from the rising of the sun to the place where it sets. From Zion, perfect in beauty, God shines forth. Our God comes and will not be silent. A fire devours before him, and around him a tempest rages. He summons the heavens above and the earth, that he may judge the people, his people. Gather to me, my consecrated ones. This is God speaking. Gather to me, my consecrated ones, who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens proclaim his righteousness. This is the psalmist speaking again. And the heavens proclaim his righteousness, for God himself is judge. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against you. I am God, your God. I do not rebuke you for your sacrifices, or your burnt offerings, which are ever before me. I have no need of a bull from your stall, or of goats from your pens, for every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. So he owns it all already. When we give it back to him, we're not giving him something he doesn't already have. When we bring our bulls and our goats, or today, whatever it is that we bring, we're not giving him something that he already has. We're not loaning him back something that he lost somehow to us. I know every bird in the mountains, and the creatures of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine and all that is in it. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Sacrifice thank offerings to God. Fulfill your vows to the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you will honor me. So in the end, the sacrifices, yes, they were important, and yes, he commanded them to do them, but there were more important things than them. The sacrifices themselves were a means unto an end. They were not an end unto themselves. But and we see that point made actually a lot in the Psalms. We've talked about this before in other books of the Old Testament, but this is a very common theme in the Psalm. We've already mentioned it several times, and it's going to come up again too. But to the wicked, God says, what right have you to recite my laws or take my covenant on your lips? You hate my instruction and cast my words behind you. So they have no right to invoke the name of God to accomplish whatever it is they want to accomplish. Sometimes they do that. And sometimes wicked people today do that. He's saying, what right do you have to do that? They have no right to do that. You hate my instruction and cast my words behind you. When you see a thief, you join with him. You throw in your lot with adulterers. You use your mouth for evil and harness your tongue to deceit. You speak continually against your brother and slander your own mother's sons. These things you have done, and I kept silent. You thought I was altogether like you. But I will rebuke you and accuse you to your face. So God didn't judge them right away for these things. He gave them time to come to their senses and repent. They didn't. Him being silent while we sin doesn't mean he approves of our sin. You sin enough and he's going to do something about it. He could do something about it right away. A single sin is enough to earn the death penalty. The soul that sins shall die. So he has every right to do something about it as soon as we sin. The fact that he doesn't mean he approves of that sin. Consider this, you who forget God, or I will tear you to pieces with no one to rescue you. He who sacrifices thank offerings honors me, and he prepares the way so that I may show him the salvation of God. To prove that, we're going to read a penitential psalm here in Psalm 51. For the director of music, a psalm of David, when the prophet Nathan came to him after David had committed adultery with Bathsheba. And it had a couple of other psalms written by David, or having David's name attached to them, that were penitential in the sense that he was confessing forgiveness for his sins. But those psalms were not specifically attached to this incident as this one is. They could be referring to other incidents. This one is specifically attached to this particular incident of sin that David had committed. But it could be applied really to any instance that in which we find ourselves trapped in sin. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgression. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only, have I sinned, and done what is evil in your sight, so that you are proved right when you speak, and justified when you judge. God is the ultimate victim of every sin that we commit. He's not the only one. Okay, David is exaggerating here when he says, against you only have I sinned. He's making a point. He sinned against Bathsheba. He sinned against Uriah. He sinned against the people he lied to cover up these crimes. Okay, he sinned against plenty of people, in addition to sinning against God. So it's not technically accurate to say he only sinned against God. But the point being made here is that the ultimate victim of every crime is God. And his guilt is before God. What matters is what God thinks about David's guilt. Not Bathsheba or Uriah or Joab, his commander, who is forced to lie for him, or whatever. His accountability is before God, and not before anybody else. Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me. Now again, this is an exaggeration. This is not a point on which we should base any particular doctrine. We have other instances in the Psalms where he talks about being treated well from his mother's womb, being treated well from birth. So this is not a point that should be a verse that should be used to make a doctrinal point about original sin or something along those lines. This is an exaggeration, fitting as we saw with the previous verse about David's confession of guilt in front of God, saying that I've always been sinful. I've been sinful from I've never not been sinful. My thoughts have always turned to sin. Now in other Psalms, he'll protest his innocence. In other Psalms, he'll talk about being an innocent baby or coming out of his mother's womb. So this is not something that we shouldn't take this verse out of context and base an entire doctrine around it. Surely you desire truth in the inner parts. You teach me wisdom in the inmost place. Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquity. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Do not cast me from your presence, or take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. Those lines should probably be familiar, because there are many songs and hymns that have been written over the years with those exact lines in them. Then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will turn back to you. So if you forgive him of his sins and blot out his transgressions, he has even more reason to praise you and speak of you in the assembly of the people. He has another way of expressing his praise of you if you forgive him and blot out his transgressions. Save me from blood guilt, O God, the God who saves me, and my tongue will sing of your righteousness. O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. There's another emphasis on the sacrifice aspect of it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. The sacrifice, now he does take pleasure in burnt offerings. Okay, he told them to do it. And back in Leviticus, when he gave them the commands, he referred to them as sweet savors, sacrifices, like a sweet smell in his nostrils. As the human gave these sacrifices up to God, he would smell that, and I don't know what it actually smelled like, a roasting animal doesn't sound to me like it would smell good, although it could be like a kitchen where you know something good is cooking in the oven. But anyway, God would smell this and he would consider it to be a pleasing aroma or fragrance. So he does delight in these things, but the point again being made is that God's interest ultimately is in something other than that. That simply offering the sacrifices is not in and of itself enough. In fact, the sacrifices are only necessary because we don't offer God the thing he really wants, which is our devotion. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. In your good pleasure, make Zion prosper. Build up the walls of Jerusalem. Then there will be righteous sacrifices, whole burnt offerings to delight you. Then bulls will be offered on your altar. So he turns right around and says that God will delight in these sacrifices later. So we can't take some of these lines in Psalm 51 by themselves and base entire doctrines around it. Psalm 52, for the director of music, a maskil of David. So by the way, we're seeing David's name return. He wasn't around for a while. Since we started book 2, we had a bunch of songs written by people other than David who had names attached to them other than David, but now we're seeing a lot of David songs again. A maskil of David. When Doeg the Edomite had gone to Saul and told him, David has gone to the house of Ahimelech. Now this is when David was taking refuge in the priest village of, I think it was Noab, something like that. And he was informed. There was an informer who spied on him and told Saul about it. And David left. Now, David wasn't there when Saul made his way to that place. And said there were a bunch of priests there, I think 85 of them total, that were killed because of this informer. So this is a curse against this informer, basically. Why do you boast of evil, you mighty man? Why do you boast all day long, you who are a disgrace in the eyes of God? Your tongue plots destruction. It is like a sharpened razor, you who practice deceit. You love evil rather than good, falsehood rather than speaking the truth. Selah. You love every harmful word, O you deceitful tongue. Surely God will bring you down to everlasting ruin. He will snatch you up and tear you from your tent. He will uproot you from the land of the living. Selah. The righteous will see and fear. They will laugh at him, saying, Here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his great wealth and grew strong by destroying others. But I am like an olive tree, flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God's unfailing love forever and ever. I will praise you forever for what you have done. In your name I will hope, for your name is good. I will praise you in the presence of your saints. So this Doeg the Edomite guy, he's doomed, he's cursed, he's evil, and he's going to meet the fate of all evil men. But I will praise you, God, and I'll praise you in the presence of your saints. Psalm 53, for the director of music, according to Mahalath, another ancient Hebrew music term, a maskil of David. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, and their ways are vile. There is no one who does good. God looks down from heaven on the sons of men to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. But everyone has turned away. They have together become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. Paul brings this point up in Romans. We got a lot to say about that when we get to the New Testament. Will the evildoers never learn? Those who devour my people as men eat bread and who do not call on God? There they were, overwhelmed with dread, when there was nothing to dread. God scattered the bones of those who attacked you. You put them to shame, for God despised them. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion, when God restores the fortunes of his people. Let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. Psalm 54. For the director of music, with stringed instruments, a maskil of David, when the Ziphites had gone to Saul and said, "Is not David hiding among us?" That's another one of those examples where he was being spied on and informed on to Saul by people. Save me, O God, by your name. Vindicate me by your might. Hear my prayer, O God. Listen to the words of my mouth. Strangers are attacking me. Ruthless men seek my life. Men without regard for God. Selah. Surely God is my help. The Lord is the one who sustains me. Let evil recoil on those who slander me. In your faithfulness, destroy them. Your faithfulness to me, destroy those who are faithless to you. I will sacrifice a freewill offering to you. I will praise your name, O Lord, for it is good. For he has delivered me from all my troubles, and my eyes have looked in triumph on my foes. Psalm 55. For the director of music, with stringed instruments, a maskil of David. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my plea. Hear me and answer me. My thoughts trouble me, and I am distraught at the voice of the enemy, at the stares of the wicked. For they bring down suffering upon me and revile me in their anger. He had a lot of trouble with people, didn't he? This dude had a lot of enemies. He was never at a shortage of enemies who wanted to destroy him. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death assail me. Fear and trembling have beset me. Horror has overwhelmed me. I said, "Oh, that I had the wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. I would flee far away and stay in the desert, Selah. I would hurry to my place of shelter, far from the tempest and storm." Confuse the wicked, O Lord. Confound their speech, for I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they prowl about on its walls. Malice and abuse are within it. Destructive forces are at work in the city. Threats and lies never leave its streets. You know, David was a king. You'd think he'd try to do something about this. But I guess he's leaving it in God's hands, huh? If an enemy were insulting me, I could endure it. If a foe were raising himself against me, I could hide from him. But it is you, a man like myself, my companion, my close friend, with whom I once enjoyed sweet fellowship, as we walked with the throng at the house of God. So he's being attacked by someone he thought was a friend. Maybe was a friend. That hurts. That stings. He can deal with other enemies. He can deal with the pagans. He can deal with the Gentiles. But having a brother, a friend, oh, that hurts. Let death take my enemies by surprise. Let them go down alive to the grave, for evil finds lodging among them. There's that go down metaphor again. But I call to God, and the Lord saves me. Every evening, morning, and noon, I cry out in distress, and he hears my voice. He ransoms me unharmed from the battle waged against me, even though many oppose me. God, who is enthroned forever, will hear them and afflict them. Selah. Men who never change their ways and have no fear of God. My companion attacks his friends. He violates his covenants. I guess we're back to that guy again, whoever that is. His speech is smooth as butter, yet war is in his heart. His words are more soothing than oil, yet they are drawn swords. David was betrayed by a trusted advisor named Ahithophel, who sided with Absalom in Absalom's rebellion, if you remember that. That might be who he's talking about here. There's a couple of instances in the Psalms where David, the Psalms where David's name is attached to, where he talks about being betrayed by a friend, and that seems to be the one that, at least in the account of David that we have in Samuel and Chronicles, that seems to be the one that he's talking about, but we don't really know for sure. But this condition of the psalm do seem to fit the time when Absalom was making his rebellion, and David was betrayed by him. By the way, Ahithophel was related to Bathsheba, so he probably made this decision to side with Absalom over David because of lingering resentment over David's treatment of Bathsheba. So, my companion attacks his friends, he violates his covenant. His speech is smooth as butter, yet wars in his heart. His words are more soothing than oil, yet they are drawn swords. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous fall. But you, O God, will bring down the wicked into the pit of corruption. Bloodthirsty and deceitful men will not live out half their days. But as for me, I trust in you. One more for today. Psalm 56. For the director of music, to the tune of A Dove on Distant Oaks, of David, a Miktam, when the Philistines had seized him in Gath. Now, we really didn't read about them seizing him at this point in time. He was in Gath a few different times. But as far as I can recall, there's no instance in the historical accounts of them outright seizing him. But apparently they did. So he's apparently a captive or a prisoner, or is in dire straits here, apparently. Be merciful to me, O God, for men hotly pursue me. All day long they press their attack. My slanderers pursue me all day long. Many are attacking me in their pride. When I am afraid, I will trust in you. In God, whose word I praise, in God I trust, I will not be afraid. What can mortal man do to me? All day long they twist my words. They are always plotting to harm me. They conspire. They lurk. They watch my steps, eager to take my life. On no account let them escape. In your anger, O God, bring down the nations. Record my lament. List my tears on your scroll. Are they not in your record? Then my enemies will turn back when I call for help. By this I will know that God is for me. In God, whose word I praise, in the Lord, whose word I praise, in God I trust, I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? I am under vows to you, O God. I will present my thank offerings to you. For you have delivered me from death, and my feet from stumbling, that I may walk before God in the light of life, or in the land of the living. So God saves him once again. He was close there for a while, or else he's confident God will save him. Maybe God hasn't saved him yet, but he's sure that he will. Okay, I think that's enough for today.